Hello, everyone. Welcome to your Media Show. Today, we have a special guest on Giving Tuesday for Tigray's Ayder Hospital. We'll be talking about Tagaru Disaster Relief Fund and what it is, what it has been doing during its 4 years of existence. And I'm here with the Executive Director, Dr. Tsahaye Zemanfas. First, we are live on YouTube right now, but will be aired as well on HBS, Horn Broadcasting Services, on satellite Yahsat frequency 11843, polarization vertical V, symbol rate 27500. So will be aired in the Horn of Africa's Horn Broadcasting Services satellite. So today, before we start with the show, I just want to play this Giving Tuesdays campaign from Tagaru Disaster Relief Fund.
It's here, the day we've all been waiting for. The day we unite to do a little more than we've done before. Each act is small on its own, but together we create a tidal wave of healing, of hope, of opportunity. So what makes November 29th different from any other day? You join the world's largest generosity movement. Leverage the power of giving to support Ayder Hospital. Make a difference for communities affected by the war and siege in Tigray. Let's stand in solidarity with Ayder this Giving Tuesday. Give for Ayder.
It's therefore my great pleasure to have Dr. Tsahaye Zemanfas, Executive Director of TDRF. Dr. Tsahaye, welcome to your Media Show.
Thank you, Professor Getachew, for having me. Hello, everyone. Like Dr. Getachew said, my name is Ayder Referral, and I am the current Executive Director of the Tigray Disaster Relief Fund and a member of the founding board.
Awesome, great. I hope we don't have any audio issue. We'll follow what our viewers will be saying on that. So let's start. I did a show before with Asaf Rabbi from the board, maybe last year, if I remember it right. But there could be, new viewers who would ask the question, what is and who is TDRF? So let's start with that. When was it started? How and what was the need at that time that pushed the founders to establish TDRF?
Okay, thank you. That's a great question. So for those of you that might not be familiar with the history of the organization, so in 2018, there were a political crisis across Ethiopia, especially targeting ethnic Tigrayans. According to the data we have, over 110,000 Tigrayans were displaced from mainly Oromia zone, Amhara zone. So in response to the displacement, a group of us just decided to open a GoFundMe account and raise money in support of them. So that was in 2018, and we raised over 100,000 from our community, and from our partner Carayon and Tigray, we were able to do a cash-based intervention where we work with the regional Tigray Bureau of Social Affairs to get a list of those official displaced based on the metrics and criteria they had as a government entity. We obtained a list of people that needed to be helped, and in collaboration with them, they help us determine how much amount people should be getting. So, at the height of war, by the time the war broke out in November in 2020, 90% of the project were completed. So that was kind of a preview to how we started 4 years ago.
Okay, great. So I know this is one of these few organizations where there is a lot of work behind it and a lot of support as well from your supporters. And in terms of transparency, as I saw a number of reports coming up. So maybe, let's talk about what has been happening during the past 4 years? How much fund was raised, and where was it used, in what way, and so on? If you can, walk us through the past 4 years.
Sure. I can request if you have the video of the anniversary, maybe if we play that, and that kind of gives an overview of what we have done, and then we can talk about our specific funding programs if you have it handy, or we can just go over the PowerPoint if that's.
Yeah, I'll bring the video as well, if you can start. Okay, yeah.
Okay, sure. So just for the benefit of the viewer, so we just celebrated our 4th year anniversary last month. We are a young organization, but with a lot of impact, not just because of what the board has done, but with the support of our people. Our community is the heart of our organization. So hopefully this 1-minute video will give people an overview of who we are as an organization, as well as our impact.
Okay, let's play that maybe now. Okay, that gives something, I guess, in terms of what you have done. Okay, for example, I think this is where you indicated in terms of how much and where and so on. So if you can walk us through this chart.
Sure. So basically what you're looking at is, so as a 501c, we focus on 4 aspects of the United Nations Sustainable Goal Development. So, our mission is twofold. One is obviously to provide humanitarian aid for the people of Tigray, whether they're in Tigray or where they may be. The second portion of our mission is to provide development assistance. So, we want to move from humanitarian to helping develop communities. So right now, because of the war, we obviously focus mostly as to relief, but our tenants equals education, health, economic well-being, or economic empowerment, as well as food security. So basically what you're looking at is our program areas by funding from January of so basically from 2021 to right now. If you can go to the next slide, I'll give you specific in terms of what organization we have funded. So unlike what makes us a bit unique is that we don't have the manpower or women power per se on the ground. So what we work through funding organization that are Tigray centric and also focuses, we share similar values. So after last year's Giving Tuesday, what we did is we decided to have RFP call for proposal. So we had a call for project proposal that were submitted by different organizations. So what you're looking at is different organizations from Sudan to Tigray to Uganda, and the amount of money that have been funded for different aspects of our program. So for instance, we started doing work in Sudan because we didn't have access to Tigray. So initially, a lot of our organizations that we funded were in Sudan, and then we were able to find partners on the ground, and also people that we had worked in the past, and also organizations submitted a proposal, and we were able to fund some organizations specifically focusing on humanitarian issue because that's the most urgent thing at the moment. And So what you're looking at is so far, TDRF has given out just 12 plus 1 grants to different organizations. And up to this, we have awarded 178,000 worth of grants. And we have another project proposal on the pipeline in Uganda that's a bit different. That's usually trying to train our community members, and that will help them find employment, gainful employment. And then if you can go to the next one. Okay, so this is kind of tells you, so our main focus right now is in Sudan and Tigray, again, because of, it's a lot easier to access Sudan. So up to this day, we have funded 91,000 worth of grants for partner organization. Again, these are Tigray-centric organizations that we have collaboration and MOV signed. And then so far we have funded 73,000 USD to organizations in Tigray. And we are in a pipeline of funding a project that focuses on entrepreneurship. We have formed a partnership with the Tigray Startup Nation and Tigray family community in Uganda. We're in the process of recruiting over 100 participants that will go through 8 weeks of entrepreneur training that eventually will give them a certificate of completion from what I believe is from Stanford University that hopefully will help them seek employment. And also at the end of the program is to get a pitch, an award, seeding money for the top 3 teams that would help them implement their idea. So this kind of gives you a broad highlight of our development work. And this is just a timeline in terms of when we had awarded organizations. So, in November of last year, I remember Asafa came to the show. So, it was to promote our work as well as what our coming Giving Tuesday. So most of the money that was raised over the 21 Giving Tuesday, over 100,000, was given out in the form of grant to partner organization. So what you're looking at is basically the timeline of and amount that was contributed or distributed to a partner organization, and the 3 on Sudan and Tigray as well.
Great. In terms of the organization, so how many people are working here in terms of the board and the day-to-day activity? Because I see a lot of activity from the report, and I follow that closely. So can you speak to that? How many people are actively working on this? How you reach out to your supporters?
Absolutely. So we are composed of 15 board members out of, if you don't mind, if you can pull the website, and we have actually updated new board members. So out of that, we have 9 executive team members that usually do the day-to-day operation. And obviously, anything gets implemented because, the board approves it. So the day-to-day activities are handled mostly by our executive team, but it's a collaborative effort. We also partner up with, social media ambassadors, especially when we go to the Giving Tuesday campaign. I'll talk about specifically, but yeah, so our board is composed of 15 people, and then out of the 15, 9 are executive members that handle different aspects of how to run the organization. So if you can scroll a little bit down. So as you can see, you probably remember that you might be looking at new faces. So we had some of our board members that weren't able to continue or had other focus. So if I can start with the executive team, or I can, with the board of directors, you can see you're probably looking at new names from our communities. For example, Lamlam, Naftalim, Simrat, and Heaven are new addition to the board. And then if you scroll a little bit down from the executive team, we have, so we added Nasruddin. So we added another director. So all the executive team are responsible for a director position. So we added 2 more people into the team, as you can see. Betty Desalegn is our Director of Communications. She's from Australia. And Dr. Nasreddin Mahmoud is our Director of IT, and he's based on Sweden. So we are initially, our starting was in the US, but we wanted to, branch out to make sure we're becoming very inclusive. So, in our attempt to recruit diverse board members, we have branched out to people that are interested and fit for our organization, not necessarily residing in the United States. So that's kind of overview of the leadership position. And then every 2 years we have, if somebody's not able to continue, then we recruit new board members. Every year we have election for the executive team, based on who wants to volunteer. So 1-year term. So right now I'm serving a 2-year term. Well, I finished one and this is my second one, and I'm hoping part of my my attempt, to make the organization last longer is to recruit new people or new leaders. That way you have new ideas and for transition leadership. So it's not just solely relying on the same individuals.
Okay, great. And one question that in organizations of this kind, people ask is, how do you, for example, report back to your supporters in terms of, let's say, progress report or where the money is spent and so on? What is the mechanism you follow?
Okay, so, as per 501c law here in the United States, we are responsible for filing taxes every year. So that is just the legal aspect of it. And then in terms of reporting, so annually we report our annual report. And again, if you want to pull our website, you'll see it. And then recently, in conjunction with our anniversary, we just launched our TDRF quarterly newsletter. So that way, our supporters are not waiting until a year at the end of the year to find out what has been done. So this is kind of like a template of our annual report from 2021, and then for 2022 we'll be publishing in a few months. If you go back up again a little bit into the tab under news and stories, and if you see TDRF quarterly, so that is quarterly, or this is our first anniversary edition, but quarterly we will be attempting to send out a newsletter, share it via our website, through our email campaign, and just post on social media as well. So that way our supporters are engaged, and we are also transparent, as well as living up to our core value, which transparency is one of them. So this was just published last month. And just pretty much summarize our work for the last quarter, so moving forward. And then at the beginning of the new year, we plan to publish an annual report that's comprehensive in terms of what we have done throughout the year.
I see a lot of, on social media, on Twitter and so on, very active in terms of the organizational account, as well as board members promoting. And I see some of the people who actively raise funding, fund for TDRF and so on. So let's talk about the challenge. Is there any, given where people are, specifically if you look at communities, the Tigrayan community in the diaspora are busy with a lot of advocacy work, but also for raising funds for a number of initiatives. So where do you see TDRF in this landscape of fundraising and support gathering and so on?
Okay, that's great. So a year back, the executive team came up with our strategic goals, just to make sure we have a roadmap for the next 3 years. One of them focuses on partnership and reaching out to the community. We don't want to just only focus on raising funds, but we also wanted to partner with our organization, with the sister organizations, or throughout to the communities. We wanted to partner up, not necessarily for monetary, but we also want to serve as a knowledge hub, because we feel like because we have existed a little bit longer than most of the organization that started after the war. So we wanted to partner up in a way that we can also support, share our best experience with the organizations that are starting young and just kind of starting. In a way, we wanted to kind of set the bar that when you're involved in public work, you should be accountable. And how do you become accountable? We wanted to make that sharing your finances, sharing annual report should be the norm, not the exception. So in that way, I think TDRF has been doing good, setting the bar and also collaborating. Like earlier, I talked about, we seek for similar like organizations to partner up. I think that's very important, so that we're not replicating. For example, if HPN for Tigray, is working on a specific project, we notice that, we try to reach out to see if there's a way to collaborate so that we all not, our work is not being replicated. I think that's very important. In terms of the challenge, obviously, the war has affected all of us, and everybody is trying to find a way how they can best contribute. And a lot of people in our community are involved in many things, including advocacy, including organizations. So trying to recruit new people is a challenge, because people are already tied to an organization or to an advocacy. So I think that has been one of kind of the challenge. But because of our track, people are starting to see the kind of quality work that we do as an organization, and people wanted to be part of the organization. And we also offer an opportunity for people to volunteer, especially young college students. We also have an internship track that can help them not only just to contribute to the organization, but also to learn, whether depending on whatever their aspiration or career is, to give them an opportunity to do an internship to hone in their skills.
I think that's very important. Maybe let's, on a personal level, I know you are a pharmacist, and your daily life or career is related to helping people out. What does it mean to be an executive director of this kind of organization, and how is your daily, from family life to the issue of raising funding and follow up and all this reporting? How does it look like?
Well, very busy. I have three children. One is in college and have two little ones. In fact, we just celebrated her birthday yesterday. It's challenging, but personally, what I do, what the organization does, is it fulfills a need to contribute to to Tigray, and I see for me this is a way to be impactful. It's not easy, because you're trying to do a lot of things, and even just putting an organization or growing the capacity, there's a lot of learning curve, because as you said, this is not my profession. My day-to-day is I'm a pharmacist. But just because of it's a passion that we all have, I call it a passion project. Because of that, I think, we're all willing to learn whatever it takes to run this organization. By title, I might be the executive director, but I have wonderful people on the executive team behind the scene that do amazing work. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And the board also has their own responsibility. So, running this organization is a blessing and an opportunity. One of the legacy, hopefully, is to cultivate leaders. I may not be with the organization tomorrow, but I want it to continue. So I hope to cultivate young leaders, to get them involved and to kind of show them the rules, how to run an effective and transparent organization. And hopefully, take it to the next level, especially when Tigray opens up. We have a big vision. One of them is down the road, is we wanted to open a chapter in Tigray. I think that's very important. So I hope we will see that dream being realized in our lifetime.
That's important. One thing that I noticed as well, together with other organizations, like you mentioned, collaborating and organizing different forums. panel discussions. There is one upcoming on the Giving Tuesday, November 29th on Clubhouse. But even in the past, you have been organizing this kind of awareness raising and platforms. Can you speak to that?
Sure. So, part of our work as a nonprofit is also, focusing on building up other institutions or other sister organizations. So we're always looking to partner up in whatever project might be. So, we have a tradition of, Giving Tuesday that kind of started last year. Is in addition to raising money for a specific project, is to assemble a panel of discussion. So as you remember that we partnered with UMD Media last year to talk about, how to develop or how to rebuild Tigray. We were hoping that the war wouldn't last this long. We were thinking about we should focus on rebuilding. We don't want to just to wait until things open up. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we had a great panel discussion of experts that we assemble. I think it's very important to have experts, especially people in our community, to come and talk about on specific issues. So this year we are collaborating again with the UMD, and thank you for the platform that you provide, as well as with the HBN for Tigray, to talk about healthcare, and especially as it relates to how the destruction of the healthcare system in Tigray was a tool for genocide. And we have experts that will be including our very own Dr. Mulgeta, who has done extensive research as a public health practitioner with his colleagues, published in British Medical Journal, to talk about how the Tigray's healthcare system was systematically destroyed by the enemy, by the invading forces. So on the 29th, in conjunction with UMD as well as Health HPN for Tigray, we have a panel discussion that we'll be promoting on social media. We're just finalizing the last stage, but it should be very, as part of, I think as part of fundraising, it's very important that you also have something else, not just only asking our community to contribute monetary wise, but we also wanted to show them that we're putting a very important panel discussion as it relates to not only raising money for Giving Tuesday, but what is happening. I think the disruption in healthcare, sometimes we don't understand the magnitude. Like, if you allow me to share some data that I have, is you worry about the generation. It's not just about the current destruction of the healthcare system, but what it means. For instance, I think polio was reported, like 3 cases of polio was reported. Imagine the consequence of not being vaccinated. Polio was eradicated in the United States in 1979 as a result of vaccine, because vaccines cannot get into Tigray. We're talking about disabling or destroying a generation of children. We're talking about children that are under 5 years old right now. So if I can just share a little bit of just kind of data, just kind of for our viewers' consumption. So this is from GAVA, the International Vaccine. So as of March of 2022, the last vaccination deployment done in Tigray, it lasted only for 6 months. So imagine kids are not being vaccinated. From the current data I have, less than 10% of Tigray's children are vaccinated in terms of their current vaccination. That's compared to 90% prior to the war. Earlier I spoke about, there was 3 number of suspected polio cases reported in Tigray. I think there were 10 cases of measles outbreak in the region. So again, because the healthcare system disrupted, there's no medication. We talked about how there's no insulin for a diabetic patient. Basically, being here in the Western world, being diagnosed as a diabetic patient does not mean life, death sentence. But for people in Tigray, if you're insulin dependent and if you're not able to get that, basically, you're looking at possible death. So part of this panel discussion is just for people to understand the implications of what it means for future generations when you have your healthcare, and which was one of the best, at least relatively speaking, Tigray and had achieved great strides and in building the health structure. And unfortunately, the war has destroyed 90% of the facilities. I mean, one data to the magnitude, I think in Tigray, 99% of the ambulances were stolen or destroyed. So that, this destroying the healthcare was done purposely to make sure that was one of the tools that was used to carry out the genocidal mission.
Very important to mention that. One thing that you talked about what will happen on the Giving Tuesday in terms of the panel discussion on Clubhouse. So our viewers can reach out both on Clubhouse, on UMD Media's Club, but also it has been shared on Facebook and Twitter over the past 2 days. So follow us on that in terms of what's coming up there. The other aspect of that is there is a special campaign, fundraising campaign for that day. And let's talk about that. Maybe other transition, let me play that short clip. And I want Dr. Sahaya to speak to that in some detail. Why Ayder Hospital and what the expectation is and so on.
It's here, the day we've all been waiting for. The day we unite to do a little more than we've done before. Each act is small on its own, but together we create a tidal wave of healing, of hope, of opportunity. So what makes November 29th different from any other day? You join the world's largest generosity movement. Leverage the power of giving to support Ayder Hospital. Make a difference for communities affected by the war and siege in Tigray. Let's stand in solidarity with Ayder this Giving Tuesday. Give for Ayder.
I think it's worth mentioning as well what happened last year. So Giving Tuesday 2021, TDRF successfully raised over 100,000, to be exact, $100,546. And I don't know if our viewers can see it clearly here, but it used every platform, every possible way of fundraising, from auction 2%, and I see around 32% of the fund was raised through donor box campaign, and on Facebook peer-to-peer fundraising around 27%, Facebook Giving Tuesday around 9%, Instagram around 19%, and so on. So with that successful building on that, I am hoping and praying that TDRF will be able to raise more fund for Ayder. Dr. Zahir, let's talk about that campaign that's coming on Giving Tuesday on November 29th. What is the plan?
Okay, great. So, thank you for sharing this. Again, we're only as successful as the support we get from our community. So, Giving Tuesday 2021 was run under the theme of providing humanitarian aid. So, we were successful. Beyond our expectation, actually. Initially, we just set a small amount, probably, I think 10,000 initially on donor box, and increased to 30. So, what we realize is that, we want to be able to connect to the younger generation. And to do so, you have to be able to use technology. And, this is only to that we tapped into, especially social media, to help us raise the money. So the goal for this year is very similar. We want to tap into, they say that, if something is not broken, why fix it? So we're implementing the same thing this time around. The only difference is we wanted to focus on specific. We want the funds raised from this campaign to go to a specific place. And the reason why we decided is, again, going back into, I gave you a stat earlier, we want people to understand, to the extent of what has been done to the healthcare facility system in Tigray. And, unfortunately, I think Ayder is the only one that's giving services. And even Ayder has is running on a very limited, if not actually, it's the verge of collapse. So more than the $50,000, it's not a lot when you compare to that. 9 million people need healthcare in Tigray. But what we wanted to do is, and also in the same way as we are engaging it's almost like a social movement. What we try to aim is not just only raise the money, while that is one of the goals, is also to create awareness, to get everybody involved in some capacity. So the goal for this year is, as you said, is 50,000, and we go to go beyond, but with the caveat that we understand our community is tapped in. Everybody's asking for money, so we do realize we wanted to set a realistic expectation of 50,000. Again, the goal is similar in terms of executing the plan. We have DonorBox, DonorBox.org, giving the number for Ayder to raise 50,000. So that is one of the platforms that we're using. Also tied to peer-to-peer, like we did last year, especially on Facebook. Last year, Facebook in the past had a history of matching funds that you donate on that day. They're doing it a little bit different this year. What Facebook has rolled out a new program is basically from November 15th to the end of the year. Anybody that contributes, not just a one time, but as a monthly contributor, they're willing to, as long as you make it past the second month, they'll donate you'll match 100% of that. So, and then we also have a partner up with social ambassadors. What are those things? Basically those are influential people in our community. And I want to take this time to appreciate or, acknowledge our social media ambassadors, peer-to-peer fundraisers, because again, this is the work that we do is not just only done by 15 people, but it's done by our community. And so we've been engaging our social media ambassadors and Twitter to share, to kind of use their platform influence to get the word out. We're also doing a similar thing on Instagram. We have a couple of people with large followers to use their platform to to help us create this. So those are kind of the three approaches, very similar to what we did last year. Again, we were successful, but this time I know our community's tapped out in terms of donating to different campaigns. So earlier you asked about why Ayder. Again, last year we did it differently, but just every day, just kind of reading from Dr. Kubrum, Dr. Fasika, I was kind of it kind of brought in closer to what was happening on the ground, and I think there was a video of a plea from Dr. Kubram where he's asking the diaspora to support Ayder in whatever capacity. So we reached out and kind of to see if we could, do our part to support. So, basically this campaign, Giving for Ayder, is in response to the call by Ayder and the leadership to respond to the call, an urgent call to support Ayder and the people of Tigray.
I think it's maybe time to share with our viewers how people can reach to TDRF. I think this is one of the organizations where it's very easy in one way or another to reach out and see what's happening and to contact people involved. So this is the different handles on social media and website. So on Twitter and Instagram at TDRF, TDR Fund. TDR Fund is the Twitter and Instagram handle. The same TDR Fund on Facebook, LinkedIn, TDR Fund, and TikTok. I think you are almost everywhere at TDR Fund again on TikTok, on YouTube at TDR Fund, and donor box for this campaign, giving number 4, Ayder, and website, a very good website. We'll just get a glimpse of that, tdrfund.org. So viewers can reach for any support, caution, and collaboration, advocacy, everything that TDRF is standing for. Please reach out through any of these platforms that are colorfully designed and well done. I really appreciate that. So before maybe we finish our show today on this, anything that you want to pass on to our viewers in terms of what's happening on November 29, specifically, and in general, in terms of supporting TDRF's activities?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gitacho. So, just we're not only seeking out financial support. I think there's very many ways you can get involved. We try to use, again, I think technology is such a great thing when it's used properly. So we try to be consistent in terms of with our branding. So we are on every platform, social media platform. I think it's just a great way of reaching a different segment of our population. So people can volunteer, contribute financially, or retweet, or just repost what we share. We try. It's easy to find us. You can look at TDRF, and that's our handle on all the different platforms. Like you said, that on the 29th, we'll share more of the information. I believe it's starting at 4. You can correct me, at 4 p.m. Eastern time, that we have a panel discussion, tools of genocide. Again, I spoke about the destruction of health infrastructure in Tigray. So we have great experts, including our own people from the community who has done extensive research or publication on medical research journals. So tune in. It'll be about 2 hours. Again, it's going to be we're partnering with the UMD media as well as health SPN for Tigray. We're co-sponsoring this event. It should be great because, again, we wanted to create awareness. We want to bring in our experts to talk about specifically how healthcare facility destruction was used as a weapon of genocide in the Tigray genocide case. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Gitacho, for supporting us. We always seek out advice to our fellow brothers and sisters that are, kind of more accomplished like yourself. So, I think it's very important that you provide this platform for us to come and speak and kind of let our community know. I think it's very important. And I also want to take this opportunity to our community, to the people of Tigray. I wanted to let them know that we are behind them. And when things, when Tigray is about to rebuild, we'll be there to help our support. I know, people will watch this on satellite. And I wanted to thank our social media ambassadors, supporters, our community that has participated or helped us grow this organization, believed in us. You opened your wallet, your purses, because you believed in the mission and the work. It's easy to ask for money, but when people believe in the cause or believe on your track history of what you have done, and they come back and they just, we're so honored and overwhelmed with the support we get from our community. So I want to take this opportunity. This is a given season, and just wanted to show our gratitude on behalf of my team at TDRF. One thing I'd like to say, though, is like what to expect in terms of for the new year for TDRF is we are going through different branding. So our name is Tigray Disaster Relief Fund, but moving forward, and again, we'll market on this, our name, with the mindset that we wanted to be inclusive. So we had an internal discussion a year ago with the previous board as well as with the new board. So the word Tigray will be replaced with Tigray. So moving forward, will be known as Tigray Disaster Relief Fund, in order to be more inclusive, to include our brother and sister of the Konama and Europe, just to make sure that, we're not specific, just focusing. Sometimes you get blindsided. So we got feedback. So, in terms of changing the name. So we hear you, our community, and, look forward to seeing that name change. Legally, we went through the IRS and the state of Texas to change the name, but we haven't revealed this. So this is probably the first time that we're going through a branding change or name change. So that's something to kind of look forward to.
Thank you, Dr. Sahaya. I just want to share with our viewers the time and date for the Clubhouse panel discussion. Is to be exact 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are seeing 4 p.m., it's saying 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So I just want to bring that to our viewers' attention. Let me just make it maybe visible. So this is Tools of a Genocide, and it's a panel discussion on how Tigray's healthcare is weaponized under the ongoing Tigray genocide. And there will be live entertainment option to support Ayder Hospital. And this is organized by TDRF, HPN for Tigray, that is Health Professionals Network for Tigray, and UMD Media. So you can find it by searching for the topic, Tools of a Genocide. And that will be a room under UMD Media's Club. And we'll see you on November 29th, Tuesday, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Or those who are in the West Coast, that will be 3 p.m. your time on Tuesday, November 29th. Dr. Tahir Tamanfas, thank you for your time. And I really want to congratulate you and your team for a job well done so far. And I'm sure the template, how things should be done in terms of reaching out, in terms of successfully raising fund and dispersing it in a transparent manner, reporting back, and thanking your supporters and so on. I think that's something that should be emulated by other organizations as well, and hope this will be sustained, and it will have its own institutional footprint on what's gonna happen after the war is over. Thank you for your time.
I already agree. Thank you, Dr. Kitacho. Have a good day.
You have been following us live on our YouTube channel on UMD Media, and in the Horn Africa on Horn Broadcasting Services on satellite. And I just want to sign off by playing the again short clip for the November 29 Giving Tuesday. That is support for Ayder Hospital. Ayder Hospital, for those who are not in the know, is the largest specialized comprehensive hospital in Mekelle. And before the war, it was also serving beyond Tigray to the northern Amhara region as well. That was a big hospital serving as a referral hospital, regional hospital, if you will. But it has been impacted significantly that because of lack of medicine and medical supplies, infants, children, women, the elderly have been dying on daily basis. That the director had to come out to urge, to beg, to ask for help. And TDRF is supporting and raising this fund, special fund for Ayder Hospital. And I will be signing off by playing the campaign video.
It's here, the day we've all been waiting for. The day we unite to do a little more than we've done before. Each act is small on its own, but together we create a tidal wave of healing, of hope, of opportunity. So what makes November 29th different from any other day? You join the world's largest generosity movement. Leverage the power of giving to support Ayder Hospital. Make a difference for communities affected by the war and siege in Tigray. Let's stand in solidarity with Ayder this Giving Tuesday. Give for Ayder.
This is the